believe people, the way they play with people intelligence and intellect, you know, the way they do today. You know, people are telling lies for a living. You know what I mean?
They ain't never check into nobody.
No.
You know what I'm saying? They just go to their hotel and move militant. You know what I'm saying? When you move around the city, bro, you gotta be careful. And that's just, we dealing with G-Unit.
The rap game has always been a battlefield of respect, loyalty, and power moves. But when Tony Yayo, the outspoken voice of G-Unit, recently spoke up about 50 Cent's face-off with Houston's legendary figure jprince, it ignited a conversation that hip-hop fans have been whispering about for years. The story isn't just about two men crossing paths. It's about old-school street rules colliding with new-age independence, about the crumbling of the check-in culture, and about how one power player from New York walked into Houston and completely flipped the script without ever bowing down. It all began with a tension that had been bubbling for years under the surface of the rap industry. jprince, the founder of Rap-A-Lot Records, is not your typical music executive. He's the quiet power, the man whose name carries weight in every back alley, every studio, and every street corner of Houston. People don't just respect jprince, they fear him. Not because he's loud or flashy, but because his influence operates in the shadows. In Houston, if you're a rapper and you pull up without checking in, you might leave lighter than you arrived. No chain, no peace, and maybe not even your dignity. But if there's one man in hip-hop who's never played by those rules, it's 50 Cent. Curtis 50 Cent Jackson built his entire empire on the principle of never bending, never bowing, and never paying gatekeepers for validation. Since his early days beefing with Murder Inc., Ja Rule, and Irv Gotti, he made it clear. He was his own army. He moved through the industry like a walking fortress, surrounded by G-Unit, protected by his own security, and unwilling to sign off on any fake alliances. He didn't check in, he didn't kiss rings, and he didn't fear the so-called mob ties that dominated certain cities. So when whispers started circulating that 50 was eyeing Houston as a new business hub, the energy shifted instantly. Houston wasn't just another city, it was jprince's kingdom. For decades, his influence went unquestioned. But 50 Cent isn't just another outsider. He's a mogul, a strategist, and a man who understands the chessboard of both the streets and corporate America. And when he touched down in H-Town, he did the unthinkable. He moved like he owned the place without ever checking in. First, it was a Cold War. No public shots, no loud threats, just quiet tension. 50 continued his business moves, leveraging his liquor brand, Branson Cognac, and scouting for a southern stronghold for his growing empire. Meanwhile, jprince was reportedly watching from the shadows, waiting to see if 50 would play the traditional game. Then came the moment that flipped the temperature from chilly to scorching. 50 Cent began making bold moves in Houston, securing properties, building relationships with city officials, and even planning a $20 million G-Unit film and TV studio in the heart of the city. For jprince, this wasn't just about a new neighbor. It was about power. The streets whispered that Prince wasn't happy about the lack of respect, the absence of the ceremonial check-in. In Houston culture, that's more than tradition. It's a signal of who's in charge.
Like, I got out there, they showed me a lot of love. But Shreveport had the infrastructure already here. Like, even the tax incentive was put back.
Well, yeah. And so a lot of people have been talking about, man, he's here only because they gave him a cheap deal or something like that. The reality is there's more to that deal than that. Way more.
They can't see.
Break that down.
I'm spending $20 million this year anyway, in the same building that they're saying was the cheap building.
Right.
So find somebody else to spend $20 million.
But 50 didn't just ignore it. He trolled the entire concept. He made it clear in interviews and social media posts that G-Unit rolls with its own security and never pays for protection. He called out the check-in culture for what Tony Yayo later exposed it to be: glorified extortion wrapped in the disguise of street respect. Then came the infamous Thanksgiving Day parade in 2022. The mayor of Houston, Sylvester Turner, stood on stage, smiling as he presented 50 Cent with the literal key to the city.
Came to the city of Houston, but he didn't just come here to live. He has been helping out on so many causes in this city. And especially, He has been in our high schools, turning our high school students into entrepreneurs with his G-Unity program. I've seen him firsthand. This city has been elevated because of his presence, and so today we have the honor of saying to him, he's our 2022 Grand Marshal. Give it up to Curtis 50 Jackson. Now, before I call on him to speak, let me present you first a key to the city of Houston. Anywhere you go, 550 buildings, use the key, the door will swing wide open.
Crowd roared as Turner praised 50 not just as a rapper, but as an entrepreneur, a philanthropist, and a mentor to the youth through his G-Unity programs. 50 stood tall on that float, waving like Houston royalty as if to silently declare, "I didn't check in and now the city is mine." That single moment sent shockwaves through the hip-hop community. Jprince, the man once considered the silent king of Houston, was forced to watch from the sidelines as a New York powerhouse claimed the crown in broad daylight. But let's rewind for a moment. This tension didn't come out of nowhere. It's rooted in decades of a street code that has cost lives, careers, and opportunities. Tony Yayo, in his raw and unfiltered way, broke it all down during his Vlad TV sit-down. He explained that the so-called check-in system is nothing more than a dressed-up hustle.
Fed's not playing.
Yeah.
All around the board. New York City, we used to the federal indictments, but now you see them, they doing it in Atlanta, state indictments, they doing it in LA. But yo, bro, you gotta think about it. People travel to LA, they wanna be in LA to be comfortable. A lot of them houses getting ran in, robbed, can't go to this place to go to go eat without getting a rodeo. When you see people getting robbed in rodeo,
Yeah.
Oh, you know the feds come.
Artists are expected to pay for safety, respect, and smooth passage. But if you think about it, real protection doesn't come with a receipt. If you have to pay someone not to line you up, are you really safe, or are you just renting temporary peace? Yayo didn't stop there. He pointed to real examples that should have been cautionary tales for the entire industry. Pop Smoke, who lost his life after being targeted in Los Angeles. Duke the Jeweler, tragically ambushed after winning big in one of Houston's notorious dice games. And Takeoff, a beloved member of Migos, killed after a dice game spiraled into chaos, an event many in the streets quietly tie back to the dangerous game of intimidation and shadow politics. These weren't coincidences. They were symptoms of a system where old-school fear tactics clash with the new generation's refusal to bow down. The NBA YoungBoy situation is another perfect example. When his Houston property was burglarized, the stolen goods, including car keys and personal items, miraculously surfaced in Jprince's hands. Instead of returning them quietly, he posted a video online, acting as the savior. But YoungBoy wasn't having it. He clapped back hard, basically calling Jprince an out-of-touch clout chaser who was trying to play the role of big homie when no one asked him to. That response was a cultural shift in itself. The new generation wasn't just ignoring the old rules, they were openly rejecting them. Meanwhile, 50 Cent kept stacking wins. He relocated his entire life to Houston, but he did it on his own terms. He poured millions into community work, from massive toy drives to educational programs and charity auctions that raised millions for local causes. By 2023, he was giving away nearly $1 million worth of toys to Houston children. By 2024, he was breaking charity records with champagne auctions that pulled in six-figure bids. He wasn't just living in Houston, he was becoming part of its fabric, and he did it without ever bending to the old code. Poetic irony here is brutal. While Jprince clung to shadow politics, dice games, and Instagram callouts, 50 Cent was shaking hands with mayors, empowering youth, and collecting keys to cities. One was stuck in the past. The other was building the future. And Tony Yayo made it clear, G-Unit's independence isn't arrogance, it's survival. They don't rely on street alliances because those alliances come with strings, and those strings can choke you the moment the game changes. Now, the streets are buzzing with an even bigger twist. Rumor has it that 50 has been quietly documenting everything, collecting receipts, having conversations, and maybe even catching the attention of federal eyes. 'Cause let's be honest, when a street code starts to look like organized extortion, the RICO alarms start ringing. 50 doesn't move without strategy. Every troll post, every Instagram jab, and every parade appearance might just be part of a bigger plan, a long game to not just dodge the check-in system but dismantle it entirely. And here's the question the Buzz Loop family has to ask. Who really runs Houston now? Is it the quiet shadow boss whose influence is fading under the spotlight, or the mogul with the key to the city, the loyalty of the people, and the receipts to bring the old system crashing down? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Has 50 Cent officially broken the check-in culture for good, or is jprince still the untouchable force in H-Town? And what role will Tony Yayo's raw truths play in reshaping how artists move in 2025 and beyond? Stay locked to the Buzz Loop because this story is far from over, and in the world of hip-hop, one power move can change the game forever.